It is 6 o'clock. Yep. Okay. It is 6 o'clock on the 1st of April, 2026, and I'm calling this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order. We'll start with roll call.
Jay Van Bavel.
Patricia Barnes.
Jeannie Nyer.
Tony Stein.
Dave Bench. And it appears that we have quorum, so we can proceed. 5 out of our 6. Now, first off, before we even get into seeing whether there's any public comment, I would like to welcome our newest member, recently approved by City Council, Ms. Patricia Barnes. We call you Pat?
Pat is
Pat? All right.
acceptable, yes.
Who comes to us, she has a lot of experience with Rowan Wood City government, and we're just pleased as punch to have her. She's got a legal background, right, as I
Yes,
understand
I'm
it?
a lawyer, right.
And that actually fills a good hole for us because we lost a lawyer, and that's good. So having some legal counsel on board is really good for us. So we
Thank
really,
you all, and I'm glad to be here. Look forward to working with everybody.
we'll find out about that. Okay, anyway. All right, now, I'll open it up. Is there any public comments? Anybody sign up for public comments? Okay, no, there aren't any, so we'll move right along to item 2, which is the consent agenda. And there's only one item on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion for it?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes for March 4th as presented.
Very good.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing no opposed, passes, okay. Moving on to regular agenda. I promised Pat Barnes that we did not have a lot of controversial stuff to cover these days. So we are actually kind of in a house cleaning mode, as you recall last time. And who wrote the minutes, by the way? Who did that? They were really good. Nicely done. Yeah, you really, I thought you captured the whole spirit of it all very well. Jerry Fleming, who couldn't join us this evening, ever since he's been on this commission, he's had some passion for going through and combing through the code and looking for busts and problems and things that don't quite add up. And he was looking at it from an engineer's perspective that actually has to do work within Rowan Wood, and found that sometimes it was difficult for him to find certain things, or would find things that were pertaining to a particular item that might be in one part of the code and then another piece of it in another part of the code, and he wanted to see that get harmonized. And since we are kind of in a lull, this is probably a great opportunity to do that kind of housekeeping. You'll recall that we appointed a subcommittee here composed of myself, Jerry, and Jeannie. And we spent some time going through the code, reading all of Section 107, and also enlisted the support of Council Member Brooke Brown, who is an expert in these things as well, to help us straighten some of these things out. So what you have in your packet is the result, well, it's actually Brooke's work there, but it's the result of all of us sitting down in a meeting and having identified on our own individual pieces that we thought didn't add up or needed to be corrected. We are not going to vote on these things this evening. What we are is we're just having them here presented to you with the idea that if there was any discussion that needed to happen, we could have it. Ultimately, it has to go to public hearing and, of course, City Council approval. I'm not sure that City Council is even tuned in that we're doing this right yet, but I think if we say the word that it's ready to move forward, then I guess it may come up in City Council in the next meeting. Do I have that right? We could get it on the agenda for the next City Council meeting? There's, okay, well, would that be public hearing?
No.
That would not be public hearing, okay, well, that, and so it's only essentially doing what we're doing right now. Just kind of a perusal, right?
Yes, so it would be just as what you were doing right now to kind of bring it forward and say, this is what we have. The city administrator can set a public hearing for this, and with that, we would need 30 days to send out the notices, and then within those 30 days, after those 30 days, you could have your, bless you, could have your public hearing, and then the council will have to post it in the newspaper as well.
Good.
But
Very
we can
good.
do that, and then if y'all have anything else, we can all run concurrently with public hearing.
Okay,
Work too.
all right, good,
Okay.
good. Well, hopefully you've had a chance to go through it. Jay, what do you got?
If there's I know item number 4 is dealing with the tree ordinance.
Uh-huh.
Some possible changes to the tree ordinance part of the code. Would we want to be through with that part before going to city council and setting up a public hearing?
Well, maybe we take what we've done so far and send it on. Maybe if there is something that comes out of the tree ordinance, and you guys gotta figure that, somebody has to figure that out. We'll get to that item next. Maybe as far as having a public hearing goes, it would seem to make sense to consolidate those two items into a single meeting, even if they are kept separate here. Is that kind of where you're going?
Both mechanistically and financially, it seems like that would make the most sense to
Yes.
wait till we've done both
Yes.
parts.
Now, we haven't gotten to item 4 yet, and it is, and we'll talk about that when we get there, okay? So, but
Item 3 is
I
just
agree with
related
you,
to
Jay.
cleanup,
I had the
not
same
changing.
thought.
it is only cleanup. Item 4 will be substantive change, right? So, yes, so there is nothing that you have here that you're looking at that is substantive. It is literally just changing some sentences around or taking best advantage of our definitions and using them appropriately within the text of the document. Otherwise, there's nothing here that should give anybody any grief, I don't think. It's just a clarification.
The fact that the tree protection requirements is right on the first page, that's just talking about the critical root zone, so that it's consistent throughout all of the different references to it.
That's a cleanup thing. that
That's a
happens to be
cleanup
about
thing.
trees.
It just happens to be on the front page, so I
That
think
threw
that's
me off
why
a little
Jay
bit,
was, because I agree with Jay. I think we should it should all be put together for one public hearing.
Yeah. So, I really had nothing that I wanted to say about any of it.
A lot of it, I mean, we did have a very productive meeting. It was pretty much all afternoon. And we went through the entire 107, and we started at the beginning, and we had all taken notes of what our concerns were. And as we went through it, we discussed all of the different issues that we had found individually, and pretty much came up with solutions to all of them during the meeting. And then our wonderful city council member, Brooke Brown, offered to be the recording secretary really for the meeting. And she put all of the suggestions together into one formatted document, sent it out into the committee, and Jerry had a couple of questions, and we all looked it over, and then she made one final written document that incorporated the newest amendments, and that's what you have in front of you
Yeah.
essentially.
I think Jerry has one outstanding item that he wanted to have addressed, and I thought that I'd just let him do that in the next meeting. He could do that then. It's a small change.
How did, maybe it's in here, but how did you take care of the issue that brought this all up with the fences being in two places in the code?
Everything has been moved to a single area
Yeah.
on
So,
fences.
if you're looking at the new verbiage that's been presented, it's on the website under the, documents for this meeting. It's, page 1 of 7. It's, in, 107-3 definitions. You can see where we addressed, fencing, on page 2 of 7, I'm sorry. That's the first place that it's been changed. And then,
Looks like maybe there was
so we started
a
with
G
definition.
added that referenced the other place
Yeah,
where it is.
yeah. But we did spend quite a bit of time on definitions just to get started here, so we're in a kind of a logical reading of this. We did spend time going through all the definitions, trying to clarify that which was a little bit more
I'm sorry,
difficult
maybe
to
the
understand.
paging, I'm confused. We're looking at which section did you move?
Well, the definitions are at the very beginning of 107-3.
Okay, I've got that.
Do
And
you
where,
have, do you have the, here, you want mine?
where's the
I have the
fences
whole
part?
definition. This is all of 107, the way it exists right now, if you'd like it. And
This
it's-
is before the revisions.
Yeah, this is the original document, and you can see where, I'm sorry, let me go back to, it starts with definitions.
Okay,
And one of our concerns also was the formatting, because it looked like it had been maybe originally written in WordPerfect and then taken into Microsoft Word, so some of the formatting was off a little bit. So that was another thing that we wanted corrected, was we wanted all of the, so that's why I had these yellow marks, because I wanted them, that's just formatting, that's all. But then, these are just notes, but I want you to see kind of where all these
where the
definitions
fence,
are. And then, how we got to what, Brooke ultimately, wrote after our meeting was over, to combine the different, suggestions we'd all made.
If you look at 107-34 fences in the packet that we have, this evening,
107, 34.
and you go to subsection G, what it does is it says, see section 107-32D for additional corner lot requirements of section 107. So what that was, the issue wasn't necessarily that all the things that were about fences were not in one area, but rather that if you read the first section about fences, you would find not everything you needed to know. And so what we've done is we've put a go-to statement in there that says, okay, now that you've read this section on fences, there's more information, and this is where you're gonna find it. So, there's like a,
Do you need my
I see the red line statement there. So you didn't move, you didn't combine?
we didn't
the two
actually
things?
pick it up and stick it under there, no.
We didn't
Why not?
change it
Why not?
substantively. We really were just trying to make it easier to
So-
read and understand.
So you still have to look in two places to get the information that you need.
But prior to this being in there, you wouldn't know there was a second thing to look at.
Right, that's certainly.
That was really the issue.
Okay,
The issue was not so much that it didn't exist or that it wasn't all in the same spot, but if you didn't go any further, you might get it wrong. And so this at least guides you to additional information that you should look at
Okay,
prior to creating the fence, particularly in a corner lot situation.
I understand.
Is that,
And some references are in both residential and commercial, and so we also tried a little bit to make sure that we were not making conflicts with our references.
the whole point is just to make it so that if you're looking for something, you can at least find it.
I'm curious for our attorney, has, in the city code world, has AI started to get involved with people running code through and asking it to clean it up, you know, with all the cross references and whatnot?
I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
There are small cities that use it a lot.
Mhm.
We've had some cities that use it and then they send it to us to review,
Yeah.
and it's not perfect.
For sure.
But I mean, I think it's a good starting point. I wouldn't tell our smaller cities not to use it if it's a good resource, just to have somebody check it.
I was just curious, seems like it's doing so much more. Could it just reorganize the code and make it cleaner?
Well, you know, there's,
Obviously, you gotta have
there-
attorneys review it. I'm not.
what,
yeah.
what, the trick here is to find those spaces where it is not clear, and get those spaces improved
I printed it
in a
out.
way that it's not really a change to the code,
Yeah.
okay? Changes to the code would something we do completely differently, you know, so, I have a lot of respect for AI. I've seen it work do some amazing things, but I'm not quite sure what we would be asking it to do.
Read this code and it's a little messy. Could you make it more straightforward and everything in certain sections instead of multiple? I don't know if it would work or not.
Do you have experience with that?
Not a lot, other than I know it's getting more and more powerful.
Yeah, no question.
One
I was just
comment.
curious from
Yeah,
the attorneys how
please.
it's starting to come into play.
Brown, one of the other issues is if you look at fences, this 10734 applies in all zoning areas. Although B applies only to residential, C, D, E, and F, as they appear in the text today, apply to the other zoning districts. And so we couldn't combine everything having to do with residential fences one place or the other, because that would have been quite a bit of work. Plus, there's one outstanding issue, and that is sight lines on corner lots. We have two different provisions, and they're a little bit in disharmony. And so that's something planning and zoning needs to take a look at and pick one or the other, or some solution to that before it can be addressed.
And that would be a substantive change, wouldn't it? Whatever we do with that.
Substantive.
Thank you.
Substantive.
Substantive.
Substance is.
I'm learning every day, thank you. So, substantive change, okay. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Another change that is similar to the fencing, and that it's mentioned in more than one place, is references to swimming pool equipment. And we looked at it and we decided that it really needed to remain in two different places, or more, but at least the two that we're talking about, and but it could be referenced to the other place.
So what you worked on, did it also included some changes to the tree ordinance language?
There,
It was only the root zone, right?
No,
Oh, no, the diameter.
you changed
was
the
yeah,
definition of
Yeah,
diameter to DBH, which means diameter at breast height, which
right.
which is
can
4.5.
be quite variable, so why not just leave it the way it
Because,
was?
well, we define it as at 4.5 feet.
Right.
But that's the way it was defined to start with.
It was not, the problem was that the term diameter, the changes are clearer. It refers to the same height for all of it, for measuring the diameter of the tree.
I think that in different codes, I think that they use that acronym as kind of a standard. Now, what we have written earlier was using the 4.5 feet throughout the different parts of the code, and rather than using a single term that defined that. So we thought that we were providing clarity, but I think you're saying that that's not the case, or am I misunderstanding?
Is the DBH defined in definitions?
Yes, well,
So I was just looking at that. So DBH is defined twice. Once under 107.371E, and then one under 107.386A3. So for the sake of minimizing redundancy, it might be nice to move that to 107-3 and say it applies to the whole chapter, as opposed to being defined twice separately. I think that's the intention of this exercise,
What-
right?
Yeah,
so,
The first one is 107-371E.
Dash 371 E.
77, did you say?
371.
I'm sorry, 107-371E. And then the second time it's defined is in 107-386A3.
One is the residential code, one is the commercial tree protection code.
Right, exactly. We might,
Yeah.
Once you through the place with all species.
yeah.
That can be done in tree stuff starts.
So this is a definition. Protected tree, replacement tree.
So which definitions can be put into the definition section and need to be there, and which can be put into some other section dealing with that area?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Cities choose to do it all different ways. I think the most modern way of doing it is just having one section of your code in your zoning ordinance for definitions and putting all your definitions so that you don't have to repeatedly put them in different sections to make sure they match. But there are a lot of cities that have definitions for each section of their code. It really is just a preference thing.
there, yeah, please.
If I can comment, I think that the issue here was that the measurement of the diameter was using the term of art diameter at breast height came in when the tree protection for the commercial zone was drafted. And I think it overlapped some of the drafting for the residential tree code, as you're well aware, but we didn't, the planning and zoning did not adopt that same term of art, but adopted the same method of measurement. You just didn't call it diameter at breast height, you called it diameter, and there was an express requirement to do it at 4.5 feet, which is the diameter at breast height in the commercial code. So once those two concepts became the same, we could now combine them. But we couldn't do that and the commercial code had already been adopted, and, it was an overlap there. Had we been doing the two codes at the same time, we probably would have used the same term of art and the same method. Functionally, there's no substantive difference between the two measurements, the measurement for diameter in the residential code and the measurement for diameter in the commercial code. They just weren't written at the same time by the same author, and so we have two different terms. And if we use diameter at breast height in both, then we can take both definitions out and put it in the general section that applies to both residential and commercial tree protection ordinances. So it can be done, and it's not a substantive change. It's just a matter of the timing of the drafting.
And I guess that is what Alan was suggesting, is that we
Yes.
bring it to a single definition, that which would make sense to go to 107-3, right?
You can do it then,
We could do that.
because 107-3 applies to all the definitions there apply throughout the zoning the full zoning chapter.
Okay. I didn't realize that the business code had already defined DBH.
Yeah.
We good?
And Jerry was concerned that where just diameter was used, it wasn't specific enough. So that's why it was changed to.
Okay.
Yes.
So rather than just saying diameter at 4.5 feet in the code, it says diameter breast height, and we define that.
Yes.
Seems a little.
Because that could definitely vary from person to person.
Which I don't know why you call it breast height if it's just 4.5 feet.
Well, it happens to work for me. Any
More like
other?
chin height.
Sorry?
It's more like chin height for some people,
Yeah.
yes.
Is there any other discussion or?
So did we agree that we would take out this second place where it's DBH is defined?
I think what we're gonna need to do is do that. No, that's not true. Yeah, I guess we can agree to do that now. It's not a substantive change, right? So I guess we can do that. Do we need to make a motion on it? Well, we probably don't need to motion that. We just need to capture it here and, just capture it.
Yeah, I think just caption it, just give direction for the next draft of
If
it.
you would, yes. I
Yes.
think if everyone's good with that, then we're gonna ask staff to make that change. Is that fair? All right. I don't think we,
Sounds good.
okay, good. We have time, this is gonna come around again. And if you want, you can dig back into this, and if you have other questions, or you think that there are some other things that could benefit from additional clarification or whatever, by all means, bring them up. We can do that.
Thank y'all for doing that, taking the time.
Yeah, it's good for you to go through all of 107 occasionally anyway.
That's where all the changes
We did
are.
find a number of things, and to be clear, there's probably stuff we missed, but it was our best effort, at least on the first pass, so.
And Brooks' best effort.
And Brooke better, that's right. So, are we, if we're finished, if there's no more discussion around this, I can move on to discussion item number 4, regular agenda item number 4. Okay, let's do that. Agenda item number 4, discussion and possible action on the creation of a subcommittee to review tree protection standards within Chapter 107 of the Roaring Wood Code of Ordinances. And what this is about is after we had done what we had done, Jerry sent me a note and said, what would really be great is if our tree protections, the protections that we put in place while building is going on, if those look the same as what they look in the city of Austin. That their tree protections go a little bit further than ours do, and that it would be easier on contractors or anybody else who has to deal with our code if they were seeing pretty much the same text across our municipality and the city of Austin. And I said, well, that would be a substantive change if we did that. We aren't just going to put it out there and say we ought to do this. So he agreed. I said, I think before we do that, we ought to do something similar to what we had done with this first exercise, and that is elect a subcommittee to take a look at the two sets of codes, decide whether or not they do in fact merit harmonization. Does it work? And if so, to make a recommendation to P&Z as to whether or not we ought to try to adopt more or all of the City of Austin's language here. And he agreed that would be okay, but he unfortunately couldn't make it. So I said, we'll put it on the agenda, we'll do it. And now that, I guess, is, so, I'm putting it out to you folks. Does that make sense? If so, we'll motion it, and then we'll assign or create a subcommittee to look at these things.
I mean, I think Jerry's idea was not to totally replace what we've done, but to just fill it out a little bit more with things borrowed from City of Austin code, tree code, to enhance what we currently have rather than replacing anything.
I think, well, you know, I can't speak for Jerry.
Yeah. Well, neither
And,
can I.
and nobody could really. But I think that really what he wanted was to see us brought together so that it would just be easier for a contractor to read. Not necessarily to fortify what we have, although that might be a side product of it all, but rather to just ensure that people who understood Austin's code would also understand ours.
What about, do we ever look at Westlake's code? Do we compare it?
I have not. Jerry's the one who's got the passion for this stuff.
Okay.
And no, we have not looked at Westlake's code, not as far as I know.
We did look at it in terms of tree protection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this newish tree ordinance is the one that you largely took the lead on, and whatever
With help.
the acronym was with help not that long ago, and so y'all did review a lot of other municipalities, not just
We
tree
looked at
protection, but tree
Leander,
ordinance.
Westlake, Cedar Park, and Austin.
Yes.
And some out-of-state places too. So.
And Jay led that effort.
Yeah.
So
And so was there do you recall if there was a conscious decision about do we align with Austin or not, or, with the tree protection? I guess my thought is we just went through all this. Should we be looking at redoing it again already?
And
Or
that-
have we had any issues?
and
You know,
that's the question.
Does city staff have any opinion on whether we've gotten feedback from contractors that it's
Yeah.
confusing or difficult, or they're doing Austin stuff instead of what we have in ours? Or
Contractors are pretty familiar with what we have, and it pretty much is aligned with what Austin does actually ask for more than what we ask for. But I did want to bring forward that our tree protection is under section 101, which is not the zoning code. So I think if y'all are going to be making any changes towards the section 101, that may be something aligned for council, or for y'all to make a suggestion to council. But if you're going to make changes to section 107, then that's y'all's
Yes,
hand.
refresh my memory. The 101 is tree protection during construction.
Correct.
Okay. And it's all in there.
Mhm.
Okay. And disturbing critical root zones, is that's in 107
Some of it's in 107
when you're replacing trees.
when you're replacing trees, or you're going to be defining what disruption of that critical root zone is.
Mhm.
So
Which is something that happens during construction as well.
sometimes, yes.
Jerry did send out to those of us on this committee the whole City of Austin packet. And I got the impression, sort of, I think like you did, Dave, that he really kind of wants City of Austin City of Rollingwood to adopt the same similar verbiage in the same, just so that it would be easier for contractors who mostly are working in both Austin and Rollingwood, I
And I will say, in other jurisdictions that I've been around, you can, if I may suggest, you can adopt saying, I'm, for this, you use this. I know engineering uses that, for whatever, for their management of certain manuals and such, rather than the city recreating and making their own manual. They say, for these measures, you refer to Austin's
And maybe that's what he
environmental
meant.
manuals.
Maybe that is what he meant.
So,
I don't know. He's not here.
I'm sorry?
Jerry's not here.
Jerry's not here, that's right.
Well,
But-
I'll just say I'm all in favor of a committee to take another look at this, you know?
And that's probably as far as we wanna get with this, that's it. And that committee would establish whether there's merit to what he wants to do or not. Okay? And make a recommendation to us, and then we can take that to the next step. So, with that in mind, is there anyone who has a motion that they would like to make?
I just want to clarify that that committee could only deal with suggested changes to the tree ordinance in 107, not the 101
I-
construction.
I think that we can't rule on 101, but we can make recommendations on 101.
Yeah, I mean, the Planning and Zoning Commission can make recommendations. It's always, a lot of cities, their preference is to go to city council and get that direction from them. But in this case, when they're sort of linked, it would make sense to look at it. The only issue would be that the Planning and Zoning Commission, if city council wanted to review, Chapter 101, you wouldn't be able to hold it up. They could just move it past you without consulting you, because it is it's their prerogative to approve or deny those types of ordinances. Whereas the planning and zoning can only really hold up planning related issues in the zoning ordinance.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. To me, more thought goes into some of these things than what city council could possibly do from this group. What I'm saying, whenever, we take on such things as tree protection and whatnot, we have the opportunity among us to spend more time, have more discussion, think about it a bit more and all that, and then make a recommendation whether or not it's within exactly our bailiwick or not. But we do at least possess maybe a little more outside knowledge than what city council might be expected to have. So making a recommendation, I don't think is out of place at all. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Well, I will move that we create a subcommittee to review the current Rolling Wood tree protection standards within chapter 107 and possibly 101, is that right? In the Rolling Wood Code of Ordinances.
Okay.
To
So there's a
review
motion?
and make
Well,
recommendations.
Yes, to review and make recommendations back to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay. Okay, we have a
I'll
A
second.
motion, do we have a second? Okay, thank you, Pat. We have a second. Do we have any additional discussion around it? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Now, I guess the next step is to get this committee assigned. Who would like to be on such a committee? Okay, Jay would like to be on it.
I would really like it if there was an attorney on this committee also.
Well,
Brooke, I'll be happy to work with you.
Okay,
Sounds
good.
like Jerry's gonna wanna be on this committee.
I
Okay.
believe Jerry's
Yeah.
gonna wanna be on this
Yes.
committee. So, in his I'm gonna, he can tell me otherwise, but I would say
Yeah,
that
trees.
we can make it that way then.
Yes, oh, absolutely.
He's not here to defend himself, and that's unfortunate. But, Okay, so the motion would be then that we have this committee and it would be composed of Jay and Pat and Jerry. Do I have that right? Very good. All right. I'm gonna make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes carried. Thank you. Thank you for
I
doing
will
this.
say it was very, very handy that Brooke was in our
Part of
meeting
it.
because she
Yeah.
is an attorney and
Yeah,
it was very helpful.
so we are out of things. Now,
Be more than
some,
welcome to help with this trees.
something came up and okay.
Good, recording secretary would be great,
Con-
if she could do that.
Councilmember Brown, can I impose on you for a second? One of the notes that I know that, I had gotten or had been copied on from you, I think said that there had been a change, to how P and Z and city council interact, and that is that it is no longer a requirement for city council to have a supermajority to overrule recommendations. Did I get that right? Can you help me?
I think maybe council can answer that question better than I can at this
All right.
point, but that will be on the next city council meeting agenda, is a proposed ordinance that would conform the process for approval of P and Z recommendations with the changes in state law from this last legislative session.
Right.
So I believe it is that it used to take a 3/4 vote to overturn the denial of a zoning change. And I'm just not sure what the statute changed, if, I bet council can advise.
So the most recent legislature, they removed the authority. So it used to state in the statute that a city could choose to adopt an ordinance that would require a 3/4 vote if P&Z denied an application. The state removed that, and so the issue is general law cities have to, the only authority they have is what is granted by the state. And so that has been a question that a lot of cities have been posing to us.
And so it's only if there is a denial, if the planning and zoning denies a proposed change, the city council can overturn that by a majority vote. But if the P&Z has a recommendation in favor of a change, what is the vote requirement then at city council if the city council wants to
Go against it?
go
Or-
against
yeah,
it?
It's just that normal
It-
quorum.
Majority.
So it's just a
Majority.
simple-
Majority,
simple-
sorry, a simple.
simple majority.
Sorry, yeah.
So that 3/4 thing, that's for changing zoning code, or you said something about application, denies an application for zoning?
So I'll have to double check the specifics. I wasn't prepared to.
We have a
Look into
draft
it.
from the city attorney
Um,
for the city council meeting upcoming.
All right.
yeah, but we can bring that
We're not
forward at the
posted for
next.
I'm sorry?
We're not posted for this.
No.
I know we're not posted for it, but
Okay.
it was a discussion item. It's not,
Okay,
I just wanted a clarification.
okay,
all
yeah.
right? You're right,
There.
we're not posted,
For that.
but these people don't know about it. Nor do I. Okay, well, with that in mind, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Maybe we could put that on the next agenda to hear what.
I think
An
that would be, yes, I think we all ought to know what the rules are,
I make a motion to adjourn.
okay?
Second.
All right, all in favor?